I respect, unconditional love, married upon self. You already know the vibes. You already know what it is. It's your boy Ariel Naga L. Naga Nata 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 Nata. Naga 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 Nata Nata Nata. Nuka Panuku Panuka Panuku. I am like. Now, I just want to tap into something real fast. Close my door to answer the question. And before I say anything, the comments for some reason they show up in my feed as I have a comment, but when I go to check them, they're not there, and I can't respond to them, so I don't get to read them the whole thing if they're longer than what's showing me in the mail slot. So I'm only reading them by the pretense, and it's like I can't find them nowhere. I don't know why. But what I got from the gist of what I did read, how does love play a role? Well, it plays an ultimate role because unconditional love, when comprehended and understood fully, is freeing. When two parties both comprehend and understand what unconditional love is fully, there are really no bounds. Certain ways of thinking will melt away because the two unconditional platforms will meld into one. This is the real breakdown of becoming one with a partner. That's not a level for most people to just want to say, hey, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't work like that. You have to understand yourself first because you have a lot of temperaments, and your temperaments is something that you want to personally get a grip on, which is attached to your emotional concept. So what builds you and shapes you as a person is how you love yourself. We go through so many things in our life, we stop doing certain things, particularly for ourselves. That builds an integrity. And then off of that integrity, you particularly choose to attend to, treat whatever aspect in the world the same way, particularly as if you were treating yourself. So this is why it's a ladder to understanding what unconditional love is. And at the bottom of that, there's just rhetoric. You can say whatever you want. I love you, and give the false setup of it. But let's be clear: unconditional love is infinity. It's why people believe that the concept of praying to something higher than themselves will always forgive them. So it's only within yourself, you know what I'm saying, that this forgiveness is going to take place and give you the that higher concept. It's only when you're humble. It's only when you stop. It's only when you're still that you get revelations. This is a world of motion, positive and negative. To be a part of this, you have to submit to everything physical or everything that has a feeling or whatever feelings and attachment that's going to give you drive, because your ego is your drive. You have to have an ego in order to conquer or compete with anything in this system of things in order just to be here. So this is an entanglement. And then, you're trying to mix all of that motion with singularity, because unconditional love falls in singularity. You're not going to want or need nothing but the natural pretenses out of life, like eating, sleeping. And then further that, there are stories where it was races of people who just ate off the sun, literally absorbed the vitamin D out of the air. It just depends on what level you're trying to obtain. So when it comes to partnership, the unconditional love should, and this is by theory, because personally I have never met a person that could offer unconditional love. But in the same breath, it's not like what human beings attempt to do is bad anyway, because in order to live in this world, you're dealing with contrast. So it's not to say, oh, a person doesn't have unconditional love and something's wrong with you. No, you are human, so you are going to be dualistic. That's just the criteria of being human. So most of the things that we deal with as human beings, they come in a retrospect. Our problem is looking at it and putting a judgment on it and trying to classify it whether it's right or wrong. When in fact, sometimes you're just doing what humans do. That's neither right or wrong. So it's a higher understanding of what we're searching for. So to comprehend that it's a higher understanding, then that should give you the motivation instead of, looking at what's wrong in a circumstance, because there's nothing wrong in any circumstance in life. We are just living. Whether they work to the way you feel inside or not, that higher feeling that you want to obtain has to be obtained within you first. It's the only reason why we feel them, why we even want to access, or even want to try to do something in a form of positive motion, or what we want to call bettering the circumstance, so you have to first be good within yourself. And if you don't have that unconditional love for yourself, how are you going to ever... It's almost like being a master at whatever skill you have. So you have to be a master at unconditionally loving yourself. So therefore, it's second nature to you when you're with your partner. And the partner should have had experienced unconditional love too, and is at a height of it, if not mastered, at a ratio of understanding, because at that point your unconditional love can finish that class wherever that person is off at. It's the universe we're dealing with. So, the basics is always going to reign supreme in every height level of consciousness and understanding. I ain't gonna hold it, but I'm hoping I was able to fulfill that notion of the question. But do keep in mind, unconditional love is something that we should practice. And believe me, the universe is more or less comfortable with it being the way it is. It's not a bad thing. It's a learning thing. So before you graduate out of this class, you have to prove that you have your emotions in check. And before you get unconditional love completely and have it as something you can offer, the universe is going to test you. You're going to find yourself in the most frustrating moments. You're going to find yourself, probably ready to lash out. You're going to find yourself in contentment. These things are only going to build a physical disprovement for whatever that notion that you were working for, just to see how long you are able to keep that unconditional love. So if it's not mastered within self, you're not going to be able to carry it for anyone else. That's just what it is. As much as you may want to or whatever, until you master it for yourself. And it's a hard thing. And it's probably better to take this class with a person on the same mission. So therefore you both can learn from the emotional concepts of one another on a larger scale. That's kind of dope. I never really thought about it like that. But if you have somebody that's willing to travel that unconditional road with you and stay on that path, then that might be dynamic, because you're both learning from one another's temperaments that you're going through, but you still signed up to go through it. So I think that'll be dramatic, but in the same right, I think it's a very tight learning class that's circumference around two people, which you both will be each other's teachers and each other's students. So with that being said, it's your boy, Ariel, Naga. I ain't gonna even hold y'all, man. I figure just to elaborate on what love has to offer, and if you can get past, the lower chakras of even concepting what this shit is really about, because that's what holds most people deemable to get stuck from one point to another. It's being in the lower part of the chakra. That lower chakra is not going to let you comprehend what the attributes. All right. Even though love is in every single one of the chakras, there is different levels to each chakra of it with the rising. So each level of love in different chakras do different shit. But to understand the potential of what love is in a whole, is the unconditional power form. And that does not give you nothing but pure power from the fact of loving whatever that aspect tends to think about or want to create. And majority of the time, it's a lot of people have it within the birth of a child or whatever, but it kind of fades. So, with that being said, I'm out.
Peace.